Will ask me like questions or whatever.
Yeah. Tiffin, why do you love Bill?
Why do I love Bill? There's a question and a half. I love him for a lot of reasons, Poach, and he's been a good friend to me over the years. I remember actually when I first met Billy, not a lot of people know this, I was actually his gardener. And I mean, we didn't really know each other at this point. Obviously, it was more of a sort of working professional relationship. And I was a gardener, and I came back from the pub and had a few, and he was talking to a friend of his uncle's, and I was, quite intrigued by what they were saying. So I listened outside the window. I know I shouldn't have done, but we all do bad things occasionally. And so I was listening outside the window, and I heard them talking about this piece of jewellery that his uncle had left him. And it was obviously sort of quite significant. I think it was fairly valuable. There are sort of a few people looking for it. And this friend of his uncle, he's a big bloke. He's about sort of 6'5", really scary, sort of long hair, sort of slightly psychotic looking. Anyway, he obviously realised that I'd overheard this, and it was a fairly sensitive subject. And so they were taking this piece of jewellery to the next village, and he asked me to go along just sort of to protect Billy, because obviously you see the size of Billy, you see the size of me. Obviously, maybe he needs a little help. So we got to this next village, and anyway, these characters that were after this piece of jewellery, they then turn up. We were staying in an inn. I can't remember what was it called, Prancing Pony Inn. That was the one. So they came up. This friend of the uncle's, he wasn't there, so we'd arranged to meet him there, but he wasn't there. We had this other bloke come, sort of similar stature. Anyway, so we meet up with him. We stayed in his room. And these other blokes came there looking for us. Obviously, they couldn't find us, so we slipped out the back. Then we went to stay with these characters. What were they called? I forget. Anyway, they were all really good-looking guys. But on the way, one of these characters caught up with us and stabbed Billy in the shoulder. And Billy basically was a poison blade, and he was getting progressively worse. So we had to, sharpish, got taken on a horse by this girl who used to see the bloke who was now leading us. So then they go off to see her father, because he's sort of a really renowned doctor when it comes to curing poison, sort of more local stuff. It wasn't sort of top medical care. It was sort of not really Western medicine, I'd say. Anyway, so then we get to this place, and obviously this jewellery, it then turns out, is far more significant than I'd initially realised. So we have all these chaps here. They've come from all over to discuss what they're going to do about it. Evidently, there's something about this I haven't realised, and they want to take it to a volcano to throw it in, because that's apparently the only way you can destroy it. So I'm going along with it at this point, but I really don't have a clue what's going on. So we set off with there's 9 of us, and we go literally trekking through mountains. I mean, some of the scenery was unbelievable. Anyway, we ended up having to go through this old mine in the mountain, and some of the things that happened in there. There were all these weird little sort of mountain men in there, these really feral creatures. I don't know how they've been living there. I don't know what they used for sustenance, but they were chasing us with bows and arrows. And then unfortunately, the friend of the uncle's that I originally, at the start of the story, he fell off the edge of one of these sort of precarious bridges that sort of you had to go through to pass through the mine. And that really brought everyone down. But not Billy. He's the one. He kept our spirits up. And so we kept going. We persevered. We went through these woods. There was rumour of a witch, but that was all poppycock. Anyway, basically we lost most of the other company. We had more of these sort of crazy, big sort of frightening looking guys chasing us, and basically end up with me and Billy being separated on our own. I say that's the moment for me when our friendship really took off. I won't go into that too much more, because that's another story. But that's why Billy means so much to me. We've been through so much together, and that's the true story of how we met. Definitely not the plot of the first Lord of the Rings film.